Hello, everyone, and welcome to Art Talk. My name is Peggy Lyle. I'm with the Downtown Fort Collins Creative District, and I'm very honored to be able to host these talks every month for Downtown Fort Collins, letting you know exactly what you can do as part of the Art Walk. Downtown is a thriving arts center with murals, public art, galleries, wonderful businesses that are also creative and help you be creative. So we're excited to talk about all those. Every single time we actually get to explore a new segment with a new guest. And I'm very honored today to get to talk about the Fort Collins Mural Project with my friend, Lindy Zimmer. Hi, Lindy.
Hi, thanks for having
thanks
me.
for being on the show with me.
Yeah, totally.
Well, I'm super excited because I bet a lot of people walk by all the murals that you guys have created and really don't know a lot about the program at all. So what I want to do today is kind of explore kind of what you guys do, why you do it, and then help them figure out how they can go on some tours for themselves.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah,
and especially as we're in April now and we're going into the warmer months. So it's nice and fun to kind of get out, get some exercise, get your steps in and see some of the murals. So I thought maybe we would start with, if you could tell us sort of the origin story of the Fort Collins Mural Project.
Yeah, I would love to. So it was basically, I was living in Fort Collins for quite some time and trying to figure out how to get more murals in Fort Collins without really having the knowledge of how to do it, but having the passion and drive. And I was actually painting a mural on the back of the alley cat. And yeah, and at that time, Jen Hensley, who was helping, she basically helped with the paperwork part of starting the Mural Project. She was like, "Are you the only person painting murals in Fort Collins?" And I was like, "Well, not really. There's some other people, but yeah, I would." And she was like, how would you feel about doing some sort of mural program?" And I was like, "That's exactly what I want to do." And
all of a sudden your heart was singing and you were like, "Yes, let it be."
It's actually one of those things where it everything aligned. And so we basically started the Mural Project together, and Jen ended up leaving, and I kind of always was the front facing part of it as far as the director. And yeah, it has been really quite an adventure since 2015. I feel really grateful that we've had a lot of support, especially 2019. We decided to pivot from painting murals. So if anyone walks around Fort Collins downtown, and then we also have plenty of murals out of downtown. Our mission was to, the origin story being that our mission is to paint large scale contemporary murals in Fort Collins and pay artists and really focus on that local aspect of it as well.
I love that. And I cannot believe, so it's been 6 years. Boy, time flies by, and you guys have created so many amazing pieces. So tell everybody a little bit about the program in general. Kind of how does it work? How do you pick artists? How do you pick buildings? A little bit of that info.
Yeah, so how we end up, we pivoted a little bit in 2019 of how we go about it. But what we were previously doing was we would find buildings, either from reaching out to buildings that we thought that had good walls. For example, Trimble Court was one of our first murals, and
I love that one. That's kind of the bodybuilder atlas kind of great mural there.
Yeah. And so that was at the time, Ali Ogg was sitting on our board, and she had good relations with them. And then so we got permission for that wall and went through that whole process. And yeah, it was kind of used to be just find a wall and then we do a call for specific walls once we had enough funds. Now it's pivoted. So that was the first couple of years where we were kind of painting murals when we would get people to reach out, and it just kind of Tetris, and we would just paint them along the year. Whereas now just to kind of focus all of our energy, we just do it in 1 week of the year. So 2019 was really awesome. We painted 21 murals in Fort Collins.
Wow. And that's
Yeah,
citywide, right? That's not just in
yeah,
downtown, although
yeah,
we're selfishly focused on downtown today. And there are a lot of them
yeah.
that are downtown, but you do go citywide.
Yeah, yeah, and we really do. I mean, like focusing on biking and walkability is something that's huge for us, and really just, yeah. I mean, it's actually a lot more challenging to get buildings to, at this point, we're always looking for buildings. So if anyone's watching this and has a building and they would like us to curate a mural for their building, reach out. So then the process then now is that we're in the process right now of finding and securing buildings. We're very fortunate that we have a good amount of funding right now, so we're not struggling for funding, which is really awesome. So we're basically finding buildings and organizing buildings, and then what we'll do in the mid-spring, early summer is put out a call to artists. So if anyone's an artist out there and seeing this, definitely keep an eye on our website and then on our Instagram and Facebook, and we'll put a call out that says, hey, we need artists. And so what we're doing right now is organizing all the things for that. And then in the late summer, we'll have our Mural Project for 2021. And we're looking to paint around, I don't want to say numbers and be wrong, but hopefully like 8 to 10 murals, but
Nice.
it might be more. Yeah. And so it's really exciting, and especially really focusing on emerging artists. So we really want to give people opportunities who haven't necessarily been given those opportunities before, because they might not have a portfolio, but we really want to entrust that, like, hey, you haven't painted a mural before, or you are new to this, like, we want to give you an opportunity.
That's wonderful. Really helping the artists grow and cultivating kind of that professional development. I think that's fabulous. So I did want to explore a little bit the difference, because I think for general public, they don't really understand what they're looking at and who did what. A difference between what you guys do and what Art in Public Places does, because they also do murals, but they are doing murals that are on public property, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yours are all on private property, is that correct?
Yeah. So we basically either business owners will reach out to us, or we'll reach out to them, and through that relationship, we are, as the board, we curate. So we really want to give a full artistic license to the artist. And along with, like, the difference between like Art in Public Places and us is just that, I want to make it as easy as possible for artists, and I want to make it, I personally am a muralist and artist myself, and a lot of it comes out of my experiences of, like, I want to make things very, very simple and straightforward for everybody involved. And so
some low barriers for entry for artists, and ease for the business owners, and just being able to churn out the mural. But that's the point. Yeah.
And it's been, we've had a good amount of success. So, like, I'm stoked. I think that it's we actually delineating between our murals. For a long time, we were like, oh, we're going to get plaques made, and then plaques were really expensive, and then it's kind of been this ping-ponging. But this year, we're actually going to be putting stencils on all of our existing murals, along with signage.
Oh, great.
Yeah, along with signage of all the artists, and then a scan, so like a QR code, so that people can scan that. It'll go to more information about the artist, and then it'll basically take you to the website where you can then find our map, which
that's a great addition. I love that, because right now, if people see the murals, they can see maybe someone's Instagram tag or their name because they signed it. Maybe some artists are not thinking about signing them, and so they forgot. And so it's a little bit of a detective job right now. So I'm glad to hear you guys are doing that.
Yeah, it's something that's been challenging, because, like, we all work volunteer, I put a lot of time into this, and so does everyone else on the board. And so we are not paid, and so we put a lot of our own time into it. And I personally am very occupied with my own career. And then that I live down in Denver now too, there's the commute and all that being said, that some things I've definitely, like, our number one is always paying artists, and we've been able to do that. And the marketing and some of those like smaller things that, you know, would definitely bring us more to the forefront of like being more like clear of like whose murals are who. To me, like, it's important, and I wish I had 4 more of me, honestly.
I wish we did too. Well, that's actually a perfect segue, because I want to brag on you a little bit, and I want to talk about kind of your work, because you know, of course, you've done lots of murals here in Fort Collins, but, you know, people can see your murals throughout the rest of Colorado too. And I know I've enjoyed quite a few of them down in the Rhino Creative District, another sister creative district. And I just wanted to find out a little bit more about you as an artist and kind of your projects outside of the Mural Project.
Yeah, I've been really super grateful to be able to be a full-time muralist for, you know, it's been, I guess, like almost a little more than 3 years now. And yeah, Denver's been very supportive. I've also, last year I was in India and Sri Lanka before COVID hit, and I painted a bunch of murals there, and did a lot of like volunteer work and painted at some schools and some hostels. And
that's so cool.
It's really super awesome. I've painted down in Mexico City and like throughout Mexico as well, and in Thailand too. So anytime I travel,
you're a world muralist. I feel so amazingly proud to be able to say, hey, her mural career started here in Fort Collins. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess if we really go all the way back, I started painting murals when I was in high school, and I painted one at the Boulder Public Library with a local artist there and some other high school kids. And that, you know, kind of planted the seed into my head, which, you know, I didn't go into school for painting. I ended up getting my degree in art education and sculpture from CSU. And then ended up leaving Fort Collins after I graduated, traveled for a year, then moved to Montrose, Colorado, taught there for a couple of years.
Oh, I didn't know you were in Montrose.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's a totally different experience.
Yeah. I mean, it was really great because my partner and I at the time were, I still am, but very avid climbers. And so like we climbed in the Black Canyon, and there's just amazing climbing out there. And just, I was able to teach there, and then the school that I was teaching for was like, oh, would you paint some stuff on the walls? And then it kind of like sparks back into what is, you know, I was like, oh, I really like doing this. And then I moved back to Fort Collins because my boyfriend at the time was like, oh, I want to go to CSU. And so moved back to Fort Collins, and that's kind of when I painted at the Family Center. My good friend Krista was working there at the time, and she was like, hey, we have a big hallway you can paint. So I painted a 90-foot wraparound mural, and that was kind of, I was like, oh, I just want to do this, like,
right. And it keeps coming up, you know, mural painting just keeps coming back up in your life. So it's wonderful you made a career out of it now.
Yeah, and I feel really grateful to, you know, I had a handful of interns. I brought on some younger Black artists last year, and really just like I'm doing a big community mural in 5 Points starting in April, and that's like involving Redline and then a bunch of other like great organizations, Global Works Fund, and all that. Being said, I am able to paint murals and then also bring in the community aspect, which is really important to me. I really am super passionate about giving people the opportunity to participate in something that's changed my life. And ultimately my you know, long-term goal is to really be like facilitating, helping other people bring their ideas to fruition, insofar as like I'm just the conduit for like helping them get their ideas onto the wall, you know, like not even my paint, you know, like me taking me out of the picture and just being like, hey, like these are the things you need, and this is how, like, all of the logistical parts, and like this is how I brainstorm through. And so
I love that. Well, And I did actually want to talk to you a little bit about the Rhino mural projects, because a lot of those too, I feel like were sort of the forefront of a lot of important conversations, a lot of murals as part of their Crush event every year. And just in general, you know, talking about social issues and really being a very impactful mural, not just a pretty mural. So do you want to talk about maybe some of those experiences, or kind of how they do the Crush event every year and some of those neat things in Denver?
Yeah, I mean, not to put a big damper on it, but Crush is pretty much canceled. It's pretty
Oh
much
no.
over. Yeah.
I think I did hear that. That's a bummer. Well, tell people kind of how it had operated in the past, because it was a neat model.
Yeah, there's unfortunate some like things that happened with the founder, and some allegations that have come up.
Mhm.
And so, but all that being said, Crush also has been extremely transformational to that area. And I feel really lucky that, you know, I've been able to participate, and also yeah,
And they're
have
temporary walls that get painted over every year. Is that correct? Is that kind of how the model worked?
yeah, I kind of so my first mural I painted, actually my first big mural I painted in Denver, was on the Ramble Hotel. It was a big 4-story woman. And that actually was during Crush, but not officially part of Crush. But it
Got
was
it.
still in Rhino, and that was a huge opportunity. And honestly, what I give a lot of like the owner of the Ramble, like, originally wanted me to paint a small part of the building, and then
Mhm.
I saw the wall and I was like, what if I paint the
Can I
whole
have the whole
thing?
thing?
Yeah. And he was really super awesome and was willing to pay for it. And then also, you know, because a boom lift and painting a whole wall costs a lot more than just painting a 10-foot by 10-foot part of a wall.
Yeah.
Like, something that
Well,
people don't really know is like the materials, and like just paying the lifts is
or the cost of the paint, or I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. And I know I certainly am impressed every time I see the large scale murals. I love the one that you did at the Exchange. That's a beautiful sort of reclining. I can never decide, she's this really wonderful amorphic. Is she during spring or fall or winter? She kind of spans all of the seasons.
yeah,
And she's one
yeah.
of my favorites. But that's a huge wall that you took on as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've honestly, like, I've been really like grateful that Denver has a lot of big walls. And so I was feeling a little cramped in Fort Collins because there's only so many walls there, whereas Denver has a lot more. But yeah, and then yeah, I got to paint. And then I worked with Odell's in 2019, and I painted a mural that I titled Love is Love. But originally, Odell's had approached me about doing a Crowler can label for
Okay.
Pride Month. And so I did a Pride label for them. And then they were like, hey, we want to do Crush. Like, we want you to paint the back of Odell's for Crush. And I was like, that's super great. But can you guys pay me directly? And then that way, like, we can kind of cut out the middleman. I'm always about cutting out the middleman. Like, I
Right.
just
Make
like
it
go straight
simple.
to this,
Just keep it
make it
simple.
simple. Yeah, I'm like very like, which I, you know, advise all artists to really, like, you know, you got to stand up for yourself, and you really got to like know what you're worth, because sometimes there's a lot of people in between, and it kind of takes away some of the funds that you'll get, and also the control you get over your own work.
Right.
But that then, for like during Crush, I painted that mural that's on the back of Odell's, and
And
that's
that's
a
Odell's in Denver, right? That's not the
yeah,
Odell's
yeah,
up
yeah,
here. Not the
yeah.
not the
No,
not the first one. It's the
flagship.
second
Yeah,
Odell's.
yeah, totally.
Well,
Actually, yeah, and they have a third one going in now. But
wow. I had no
yeah,
idea.
yeah,
Good for them.
yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
wanted to ask you sort of a philosophical question. So I want you to feel really grounded and feel inspired. And I want you to think about and tell me what you think the superpower of murals is.
Oh man, I mean, I could just gush about murals forever. The superpower of murals is that, so if you think about traditional art that is hung in a gallery, it's
Mhm.
extremely exclusive. So it's not only is it not for everybody, like those spaces aren't welcome for all different types of people, you know, all different diversities, and you know, like within the art scene, it's very elitist to me, traditionally, and it's actually very male dominated, also very white male dominated. Whereas like murals are on the street, and so the superpower of them is that everyone gets to see it, and it becomes art that everybody gets to interact with, and it becomes part of the space and part of the landscape and community. And so it's not exclusive, and also you don't need a ticket to go there. It's there all the time. You can go visit it in the middle of the night, you know, and that is what's so powerful. And also that it takes a space that was once usually forgotten and kind of like cast away. It's like, oh, we need to put a wall on our building, so just put some concrete up or put a cinder blocks or whatever.
And just kind of ignored. Yeah.
Yeah. And to me, like, I think, I don't know, to me, like an artist has the ability to create beauty and also, you know, ask questions and also drive all of these really amazing things through art. And when you get to do that in such a public setting, it really brings all those conversations out to everybody. You know what I mean?
I so agree. Oh yeah. It's there's so many layers to them. You know, you know, you could look at them as they're really just a flat portrayal of something, and, you know, they're fairly static because they're not usually changing, but they're so dynamic in all the things that you just said, ways that they can connect with people, help them create memories, reinvigorate old spaces. I mean, there's just spark conversations. There's so many things that make them amazing, and you've given us a lot to think about as we see our next murals.
Yeah.
So I did want to ask about this year's or about how people can actually start to engage with the Mural Project. How can they help fund the Mural Project? How can they plan their own adventures? I know you guys have some interactive maps. How can they just find out more about it?
Yeah, so fcmuralproject.org is our website, and you can also just Google Fort Collins Mural Project, and the website will come up. We also have a Facebook page. On our website is probably the best way to interact with us. Like, if you go, there's a maps tab, and that'll take you to our Google map. And I have it broken down by different years, and it'll have it, you click on the different, if you click on the different names of the artists, it'll show you, it'll pop up with the address, and then it'll also pop up with a picture of the mural so that you can also reference that you're in the right spot. Because sometimes it's like in an alley, or it's in like on a side of a building that you wouldn't normally like go to organically. So yeah, our map on our website is a really great way. And then also in the next like month, we'll like each mural will then also have a scan on it with all the artists. And then
awesome.
Yeah, and then on our website also there's a donation tab that will take you to our community funded, which we're always taking donations. That's how we survive. We pay all artists a starting of $500 per mural, so nobody gets under $500, and then all the way up to, we do $5 per square foot. We're actually probably gonna maybe rethink that, just because like each year, obviously costs go up and we're pulling in more money. And then we also pay for supplies as well. But yeah, our website's a great place to start. That has pictures of all of our previous murals up there too, and you can click on them and it has the artists, and then it'll go to any of their websites too. So if you want to learn more about them.
I know I've done some research, some e-research, as I like to call it, trying to figure out what a certain mural title was or who actually was the artist behind it. It's been a great resource that I know I really enjoyed. And I do want to highlight too that we actually, it was really exciting. One of the murals that I know I sort of helped you connect to the business owner. It's and it actually got featured as part of the statewide Mural Trail. They have a big project that we submitted all of our downtown murals and citywide murals here in Fort Collins to the statewide data bank and or database. And that database resulted in this amazing article that featured a great mural that you guys painted on Impulse Dance and Fitness this last year.
Yeah, Aiko and Corrine of Coco Collab painted that, and yeah, that was a great connection and great mural. Also, some really great young artists who are really like pushing forward and doing great things. And as far as the map is, like, it's a Google map, so you can go on there and it has all the addresses, and it's broken down by year. So if you want to go, you can also like with Google, like there's a bunch of different options of how you want to take it.
So you could almost travel the whole trajectory of the mural project and start with the early years all the way to this last year.
Yeah, totally. Unfortunately, some have been painted over, and that's we have a 2-year agreement with business owners, building owners. So if at the end of that 2 years they feel like painting over it, that's totally something that just happens,
Right. Well, and who knows, maybe it leaves the space for another new creation in the future.
Yeah, totally. And in 5 Points, the Rhino Arts District, they with Crush, they would paint over murals every year. And the thing of that is like, it's just kind of part of that project. We personally we don't want to paint over murals, like existing ones we really want to keep there and like continue to expand on. There's plenty of walls, in my opinion. And so yeah, we're always looking for new walls.
Okay, great. I love that call to walls.
Call the walls. Yeah, and we pay for the murals, so we do curate them, and we do give business owners basically after the call goes out and then we get designs back, we will then give options to business owners, so they do have a little bit of decision,
some input. But I know it's important too, you can't make a mural that just looks like a sign. There are sign codes, and there are things to consider that sometimes businesses maybe aren't thinking about all those, but you guys are the experts to help them get the mural that they are going to love on their building. Well, this has been so great. I want to encourage everybody to not only plan what you want to do for art walk throughout the month. Remember, you can kind of go do things downtown all month long. There are new shows that as of this airing of this show, they're going to be hung in the galleries. So there's a new kind of freshness to this month's art walk. But again, all of those things, including being part of touring all of the wonderful murals that Lindy and the entire team over at FC Mural Project have created, is amazing. So if you guys want to plan into that stuff, make sure and check out downtownfortcollins.com to get information about businesses, and then check out fcmuralproject.org. Is that right, Lindy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Well, this has been fabulous. Thank you so much, Lindy, for visiting with me. And I can't wait to see what you guys are going to do for this year's painting. And I'll keep my eye out for some walls.
Yeah. And then, somewhere end of August, beginning of September is when we'll have our mural project. We're still waiting on confirming dates, but during that time, we'll have artist painting. So that'll be an opportunity to walk around also and watch some live art happening.
Yeah, I love it. Well, keep up the great work. You're always welcome in Fort Collins. So if you, during this whole long Colorado living tour, if you end up coming back here, you're very welcome. So we love what you've done, and we love everything that the project has brought to downtown and for our artists. And again, thanks for visiting with me today.
Yeah, thanks, Peggy. It's been nice.
Yeah, nice to visit with you. I'll see you later.